dislikes, affinities, attractions, repulsions, etc., and are in this form just as much in evidence in our lives as are the experiences of yesterday, which are well remembered. Look back over the years of your present life and try to recall the experience of 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and as much further back as you can go. You will find that you can remember but few of the events of your life. The experiences of most of the days in which you have lived have been almost completely forgotten. Though these experiences may have seemed very vivid and real to you when they occurred, still they have faded into nothingness now, and yet they are all, to all intents and purposes, lost to you. Of the character and the individual of today is different from what he would have been had the happenings or experiences not entered into his life. And this same rule applies to the characteristics brought over from past incarnations. You have not the memory of the experiences, but you have the fruit in the shape of characteristics, tastes, inclinations, etc. You have a tendency toward certain things and a distaste for others. Certain things attract you, while others repel you. All of these things are the result of your experiences in former incarnations. Your very tastes and inclination towards the study of the occult, which are causing you to read these lines right now, they are your legacy from some former life, in which some seed thoughts of esoteric teachings were dropped into your thought by some teacher or friend, and then aroused your interest and attracted your attention. And I just want to say this again. This is really important. So let me pause for a moment. Again, this is saying that even if you can't remember your past lives, it's not as though they are useless, because you can't remember what happened to you 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, right? There's a lot of things that you have forgotten and can't remember, yet they are what make you you. They are stored within you as a mind. And even though you can't remember them, what may have happened to you 5, 10, 15 years ago, even though you can't remember them consciously, they will shape your tastes and choices and actions today. So likewise, even though you may not remember your past lives, some people do remember fragments of their past lives, but even if you don't remember your past lives, all of those experiences are stored within you as a mind and are why you are who you are today. That's why, a lot of individuals act like NPCs, non-playing characters. They don't really think for themselves. Well, these individuals either are very, very, quote-unquote, young souls. All souls are eternal. That's a way of speaking, or they haven't had very many experiences conducive to their growth in the past. We, who are able to go higher and think in higher ways and are attracted to higher things, are those who have, in the past, dedicated ourselves to higher learning or mental evolution or things like this. And I want to highlight this part. Your very tastes and inclinations towards the study of the occult, which are now causing you to read these lines right now, they are your legacy from some former life. and this part here is very important, in which some seed thoughts of esoteric teaching were dropped into your thoughts by some teacher or friend, and then aroused your interest and attracted your attention. And this is why this is so important, because this is our goal as Hyperions. You know how I constantly talk about sort of seeding the world with information? Well, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. And especially when the pandemic is over and we can start having actual Hyperion collectives all around the world, we are seeding the world. I talk about this all the time. Seeding the world with this information so that a new world will bloom. And they're talking about how previous people in your past lives have perhaps, seeded your mind with information that is now causing your interest in these things right now. So this is what we are doing. We want to seed the world with this information so that it can bloom into a brilliant new world, and that Abraxian consciousness will bloom. We are the first. This is why this is so exciting, guys. We are the first. We are the pioneers of this new consciousness. So it is up to us. You aren't passive observers. You're a part of it. You are a part of it. You are a part of birthing the new world. So this is why this is so important to spread that information. Spread this information. Plant those seeds. Spread those seeds across the world. Tell people about it. Share these videos. Share this information. We are the first. You, again, you're not just a passive observer. You are a part of it. You learned some little about the subject, then perhaps much, and developed a desire for more knowledge along these lines, which, manifesting in your present life, has again brought you into contact with similar teachings, similar reachings. And again, this is why I say in Hyperionism, we're sort of like shooting out flares, or it's like a lighthouse, going, say, hey, here we are, we're over here, to gather all the minds together. This is why you're attracted to this information, to those minds that can understand this information, to bring them together so that we can work in a unified way instead of scattered everywhere and disunified. We want to be unified and then bring others around us up to our level and start that ripple effect. The same inclination will lead to further advancement along these lines in this life and still greater opportunities in future incarnations. You see, again, we're building a new world for our future selves as well. We're also planting these seeds right now. We can have a brilliant new world happen very, very fast. But imagine when we plant these seeds now, like where the world will be at, say, 100 years from now. Well, guess what? When we reincarnate, that world will be there for us. So we're building this world for us right now because we can do amazing things right now, like especially when we start building Hyperion collectives and bringing people together. That's going to be amazing. We can have change happen really, really fast. Look how fast we're growing. But also think about the amazing transformative world. Think about where it will be, say, 100 years from now, and we're building it for us, for our future selves. So the same inclination will lead to further advancement along these lines in this life and still greater opportunities in future incarnations. Nearly everyone who reads these lines will feel that much of the occult teaching now being received is but a relearning of something previously known. Are you feeling that? Are you feeling that? Again, it's really important. Nearly everyone who reads these lines or is listening to this right now is but a relearning of something previously known. It's like a waking up. Although many of the things now taught have never been heard before in this life, You picked up a book and read something and know at once that it is so because in some vague way you have the consciousness of having studied and worked out the problem in some past life. All this is in accordance with the law of attraction, which has caused you to attract that towards you for which you have an affinity, and which also causes others to be attracted to you. I'm not a supporter of the law of attraction, but I don't want to get into that now. But it's a lot more in depth than just what this is saying. But anyways, the gist of this is correct. In the same way, and from the same cause, are the many reunions in this life of persons who have been related to each other in previous lives. The old loves, the old hates work out in the new lives. We are bound to those to whom we have loved, and also to those whom we have injured. The story must be worked out to the last chapter, although increasing knowledge of the why and wherefore of such things may relieve one of many entangling attachments and relationships of this kind. Okay, so this was on reincarnation. Now we're moving on to life after death. So we're going to continue life after death and start that right now. But before we do, I have to piss. Of course I do. So now is a good time to ask your questions. I see some super chatted questions. I'll ask those. So I'm going to go use the restroom. Then I'm going to come back. I'm going to answer your questions. And then we're going to read Life After Death. Now is a great time. If you're on Facebook, go over to YouTube, subscribe and like. Let me know in the comments because I'm going to be jumping into the comments and interacting when I come back. So now is a great time if you're on Facebook to do the great migration. I'll see you in a moment. Let's get those lights going in the meantime. All right. Hello. My hair is everywhere today, isn't it? What the hell? Stop that. Okay. Where are you guys? Where are you guys? What is my hair? It's just, I hate it. I hate it. Okay. All right, back. Let's see what we have here. Let me take a look at, who was it? Let's see, Happy Horrors, Shannon Garcia, and Ruby Ryan. Thank you for helping us wake up the world. Shannon Garcia asks, what are your thoughts about empaths? Empaths, I think, are great. Empaths have an incredible ability to sympathize with others and place themselves in another person's shoes and experience what they're experiencing. And I really feel for them right now because there's a lot of pain in the world right now. So it's particularly heavy for those of us who experience other people's pain very acutely. But I think, yeah, fantastic. Empaths are fantastic. Ruby Ryan, thank you. I'm so happy I found you. You're amazing. Love from Australia. You're very welcome. Elena Anderson, I never looked at reincarnation this way. Totally amazing. Amazing. Thank you. I'm glad that you are enjoying our talk this evening. Happy Horror says, Maury, there was a meditation video on YouTube that claims to help you recall past lives. Is recalling past lives through meditation possible? Yes, I'm really hesitant to go with meditation. I like talking about in terms of void states. But, see, I would say that there's a difference here because there is a purpose now. And the purpose is to, a void state, the purpose of it is to make the unconscious conscious. And in exploring a past life would, of course, be making the unconscious conscious. And yeah, I'm sure that there are guided meditations that are very useful for that. So can you use guided meditations for that? Yes, certainly. Certainly. Now, here's the big thing to remember is that when you have, when you go into a void state or whatever have you, and you have these experiences, keep in mind, it's very, very difficult to tell if you're having a true experience of a past life, or if you're experiencing something from the collective unconscious, or you're just experiencing some other content. So keep in mind that what you experience may very well be a past life, but it may also not be, or it may also be a combination of other things. Because think about, it's very similar to when you dream. When you have a dream, do you ever have a dream that's a pure reenactment of something that happened to you, like a memory? No, it's always, like, maybe there'll be parts of it, but there'll be also a dragon in it, or, it's just something, other crazy things will be occurring too. So just always keep that in mind. It's very, very difficult to tell if you're having an actual experience of a past life, or if it's, contaminated, so to speak, by other unconscious factors. But regardless, it can be extremely enlightening because you'll always be able to learn from it. So you'll always be able to learn from it. Just remember that and be careful. And why I say be careful is because you don't want to think, oh yes, I was, the king of France in a past life, so therefore I'm going to move to France and try and, reestablish my kingdom or something. You don't want... Some people will do that. They'll think they're a certain person in their past life, and then they'll start making crazy decisions in their current life. So this is why I say you always have to be guided by logic and reason so that you don't lose your mind and think that you're someone that you're not. Is it possible that you were? It is possible. But you just be smart about it, right? Just be smart about it when you're exploring these types of things. Melissa says, why does it seem everyone is an empath? Aren't humans capable of just being empathic without the fancy title? Unfortunately, no. I mean, psychopaths... So, what psychopaths lack sympathy. So, psychopaths can put themselves in someone else's shoes to know how they're feeling and thinking, but they don't care. They don't care. So, a psychopath would sort of be the antithesis of an empath in a certain way. Not every human being does feel what another human being is feeling. And again, that's not, you're not evil if you don't. If you don't feel what another person is feeling, you're not evil. What you need to do, though, is just understand it at least logically and care about them, right? So if someone is going through something really, really difficult, an empath will feel it, right? They'll feel that deep sadness or whatever. If you don't feel it, it's okay. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, but just logically realize, oh man, this person is going through a hard time. I might not feel it myself, like how they're feeling it, but I understand it and I still care about them and I still want to help them and make them feel better, etc. So again, if you don't feel it, you're not a bad person. Okay, please understand that. You just have to make sure that you care about people. You can care about it even if you aren't overwhelmed by emotion. You can still care. You can still care. No, just to be clear, there is a difference between empathy and sympathy, which is why empath is kind of a misnomer. Empathy is the ability to sort of put yourself in someone else's shoes and feel what they're feeling. Sympathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, feel what they're feeling, and care about it. And care about it. So, I don't talk about empaths very much because I think the term is a little blurry. So, but just in general, there are those who feel what other people are feeling, and there are those who do not. One person is not good or bad. It just depends on what actions you take. You can feel what another person is feeling and be a manipulative asshole, and you cannot feel what another person is feeling and care about them. So it comes down to you as a person, not this ability to feel or not feel. Oh, Catherine, thank you so much for helping us wake up the world. I appreciate that. Morg, you have done performance art in your life. Do you believe this has helped aid you in your awakening and ability to apply this information, help to allow you to achieve new mental states? Yes, absolutely, 100%. Not only because my life is all about overcoming. So what has my performance art done? Well, two things real quick. First, overcoming public speaking, being able to overcome fear of public speaking, putting myself out there, being on stage, giving speeches, all this thing. Also, my stunt work had a lot to do with pain. And again, I started stunt work to overcome a fear of needles, and I kept pushing and exploring pain. I was very much in that Dionysian state of mixing physical input to achieve interesting mental states. And I write about this a lot in my book, The Metaphorical Suicide. I talk about it a lot in The Metaphorical Suicide, actually. Now, just really quick disclaimer, don't do anything dangerous, don't hurt yourself, okay? I'm just saying this is something that I explore. Jordy and TaylorMade and Thena, thank you for helping us wake up the world. What's up with UFOs? Well, something like this is very difficult to say because it can be a variety of different things. For the most part, UFOs are people having a projection from their unconscious mind. Alien abduction and stuff like this mostly has to do with the unconscious. And this is why they're very, very similar to DMT trips. But actually seeing objects in the sky and stuff like this, that's a completely different topic, but having to do with things like people having alien abduction experiences and stuff like this, it is mostly having to do with, not like an alien physically abducting them or something, but going into a very, very deep mental state and possibly an altered frequency channel, possibly, which is why it's very, very similar to DMT trips. Thena says, what book are you reading? Rosicrucians tried to recruit me. I've yet to fully study it, but when I did, it was very interesting. The Secret Doctrine of the Rosicrucians by Magus Incognito. That's what we're reading today. And you can read it for free if you Google it. And look, if you want to join the Rosicrucians, whatever, but you're going to learn way more from Hyperianism than you would ever learn from Rosicrucianism. We put things in precise logical terms in ontological mathematics. We go infinitely beyond any of these old systems can go. Right? You don't want to go into the past. You want to step into the future. We are the future. So, again, I'm not saying don't do it. It's just you're going to be able to learn infinitely more from Hyperianism and ontological mathematics than Rosicrucianism could ever offer. Trava, I missed your question. Trava says, are we really bound to others in each lifetime to work out things out in the end? It is possible. It is possible to have sort of like a soul group, meaning that, if you have a really strong bond with another person, then it is possible that you may choose to, unconsciously or consciously, it depends on the development of your soul or mind, incarnate at a similar time and or place. It's very, very possible. It is very, very possible that you create such powerful mental bonds with someone you love or whatnot that you could sort of synchronize the reinsertion process. It depends on a lot of factors, but is certainly a possibility. Jordy wanted me to address the loss of potential due to suicide. Oh, certainly. Yeah, certainly. So I want to say, again, Hyperianism is 100% opposed to suicide because your point here is to learn, grow, and evolve. And suicide is completely contrary to all that. I mean, look at where you are right now. You have gotten to this point where you have awakened to the stage of being able to understand this information. That's not easy. That's not easy to get to this point. Look at all the crazy distractions and traps in this world. But you've gotten to the point where you're here listening and integrating this information. That's not easy. So suicide, you're going to completely, you're gonna, you'll start over. And who knows if you'll be able to get back to an area where you would come across this information again. Right? You're just gonna, it's like you're playing a video game and you get to level 20 and then you just hit the reset button. It's like, well, you're just gonna have to do it all over again. You're just gonna have to do it all over again. It's not that your unconscious knowledge gets lost. It's that, again, look how, I'm sure many of you probably believed in lots of wrong things or were in just the wrong place in life, but finally you're here where you can integrate and understand this knowledge. So use this opportunity for your personal growth and evolution. This is the time to, Hyperianism, again, it's like a mental cheat code. Hyperianism and ontological mathematics is that thing that will get you to evolve at an incredibly fast rate. So you don't want to stop now because you're at the point where you